Officer of Aviation and Aerospace Development, revealed this. Kayamo disclosed that the airline operators had decided to designate the 650,000 barrels per day refinery as the only supplier of jet fuel for the aviation industry with his support and agreement. The minister pointed out that the action is timely, given that the Dangote and the government recently implemented a Naira for crude agreement. And those are your headlines.
Real quickly, yes, because Dangote Refinery is turning a lot of capacity out as regards aviation fuel. That's quite good. But in also all of this, we should also remember that some more refineries will come on stream sometime in the future. Probably there's going to be a look at these things again and a review. But it's a good one, at least for the very first time, we don't have to import aviation fuel.
We have to cough out dollars for that.
We have to cough out dollars for that for the Institute. And it's also going to help us marginally reduce that burden of FX that we expend about 40% of our FX to be able to bring these products in. I'm happy about the story you talked about, the capital importation. You know why I say I'm happy?
Why?
Because it has shown the truth. So what did the president read in the speech? Where did he see FDI of $30 billion?
You can't lie with data. You can politicize it.
Lied?
No, I didn't say that. Okay. I just said that data is what it is. There's always a competition at the end of the day.
The presidential speech writer.
On the October 1st.
Because even in the October 1st speech, you said 30 billion FDI. You didn't even say portfolio investment. But what we are seeing here, portfolio investment is just about 1.4 billion. So most of even the portfolio investment that's coming in because of the hike in our treasury bills rate and things like that, it's just about 1.4 billion.
Yes.
So where did they see this 30 billion? Because I know for once, with my little economic sense, I mean, I didn't study economics, but I know economics, that there's no how you get 30 billion FDI and your forex will be $1,700, $1,650. No, because most of those money will trickle in and you also challenge the dollar. If you are getting 30 billion FDI by now, at least dollar should be close to a little over 1,000 or less than 1,000 naira. That's just economic sense. So maybe then the government should be able to come out and tell us how this money came, because the word of the president is bond.
And so with Dangote Refinery aviation jet fuel, one of the things I'm looking out for the outcome of this, especially since it will be purchased in Naira, is a reduction, the ultimate reduction in
the pump price.
Not just the pump price. Well, in operation costs for airlines and then, of course, for consumers. I say this because recently we've talked about how high it is to fly in Nigeria.
I know you go to flight tickets.
the costs have gone so high. One of the things they talk about is the cost of aviation fuel. It's one of the things that they complain about.
Taxes too.
Yes. So I'm just in terms of but the top aviation fuel is one of such things. Yes, it's a component. So what I'm saying is that one of the things I'm looking forward to, because it's almost seeming that we want to finish the aviation sector, especially when we talk about local travel. It is too exorbitant. People cannot afford it. So whilst they're looking at this in terms of both ways, a win-win for Dangote Refinery as an indigenous company, is also for the aviation sector in Nigeria as well, and being able to get jet fuel at least hopefully cheaper. Yeah. And then we can then look at the taxes and other attendant effects.
There's a whole lot.
Yeah.
In those days, flight tickets used to come in about 3, 4, 5 pages.
Yes.
Sheet of paper.
Yes.
And this was the time when tickets were to Abuja, Lagos was about 18, 20,000 naira. And I just said one day, hold on a second, how did they compute this figure? And I went through the last pages to find out. And I found out that the charges and fees,
oh my God, the taxes,
out of that 18,000 naira. Now that was when the Aka Air was still
in said that in terms of
accounts for 90, not
10%. Paying for how many airports in Nigeria? But very quickly in Brazil, because we're talking about Brazil and Musk has finally, would I use the word capitulated? The Brazilians have won. He has paid the fine. He has established a representative in Brazil. $5 million he paid, and now X has been restored in Brazil. Just to say that at the end of the day, despite the fact that he was saying no, he wouldn't. He was against free speech. He was still able to put business above
some of these
interests.
issues. Aviation fuel to be bought from Dangote Refinery. 2 issues that provide a context. 1, willing buyer, willing seller. That's the situation. Number 2, the aviation industry in Nigeria, do they have a choice in the matter? If the minister is saying, oh, we have said they should buy from Dangote Refinery, which other refinery is producing jet fuel in Nigeria? Number 3, Dangote Refinery has been selling jet fuel since May 27, when about 6 cargoes, were exported to Europe. Thereafter, Dangote Refinery has also sold to Senegal, Togo, and Ghana. And so this is an international market. The aviation airline operators of Nigeria, they might as well buy from Dangote. But the bigger story is the story we are hearing now, that NNPC, and that story is from Premium Times, that NNPC now will not be the sole off-taker from Dangote Refinery. Wow. So it's not going to be your distributor. Because they've denied for so long that there was subsidy. Now they've admitted that there's a subsidy of about 134 point whatever naira. Now they are not going to be the sole off-taker. Anybody who wants to buy will go and buy from Dangote. The implication is that fuel prices, pump price of fuel, is going to go up to as much as 991 naira, 91 naira in Lagos and over 1,000 naira in other parts of Nigeria. How they deal with the possible social consequences of that remains to be seen. Yes, as you said, Musk has now agreed to obey all the rules in Brazil. Now, Alexandre de Moraes, that's the name of the Supreme Court Justice, gave the order yesterday that within 24 hours, the 27 million subscribers in Brazil should be allowed back onto the platform. That did not happen as of 7 p.m. yesterday. Maybe today, when the 24 hours will expire, Anatel, the regulator in Brazil, will be able to solve that problem. Really? Boeing is having problems. They say the deal is off. They offer 30%. The strike continues because the workers are saying we want nothing below 40%.
Boeing is getting a downgrade to a junk territory from S&P.
By S&P Global Ratings. They now have a negative rating. And finally, China is fighting back. It has placed tariffs on brandy in retaliation for the EV tax that the European Commission imposed on electronic vehicles from China. So they say, well, you two will not drink whiskey, you will not drink brandy. Anyway, thank you very much.
The federal government approves Dangote Refinery as the exclusive supplier of jet fuel for Nigerian airline operators.
Well, more like, because he spoke with Channels Television.
Yes,
and he said
indeed.
that the operators came together and they said, you know what, we're going to purchase from Dangote. And he said he gave his blessing.
Approval.
Right, so more like they took the initiative and thought, okay, because of Forex and other costs, let us just go for the smarter option, I imagine, and then they went for Dangote.
Okay, so we could say this is a healthy product of a public-private collaboration. Yeah, so Charlie writes in and says, this is not good news. Sole supply of jet fuel for airline operators means only Dangote can supply, and that means every airline company is at the mercy of any price Dangote inflates on them.
Well, whether you wanted to use inflate or impose or otherwise, I think the point is taken. Rachel has this to say, good to know. No more foreign fuel for airline operators. Price of flight will come down now. I hope it's important to properly contextualize that.
We hope.
Because there are other costs that come together. So whether or not this will change a lot is what we hope to see.
All right. And that's it. That's as much we can take.
Hey, one more. It's important to tell you that the head of service of the Federation has reintroduced civil service anthems for workers. Now, don't ask me what that anthem is. I'm just giving you the information, right? So the head of service had made that announcement that there will now be a civil service anthem for civil servants in Nigeria. So if you're a civil servant, you better start learning.
You better learn the anthem.
Because,
so it doesn't invite query. Failure to be able to recite it doesn't invite a query. So learn the anthem, and perhaps one of these days we could also get to know what that anthem is.
So two anthems for you, the civil service anthem and the new national anthem. So wish you the best. I imagine this is geared towards fostering productivity and the rest. But people say, well, it's not just enough to change or give an anthem. There needs to be deeper reforms in that civil service.
So beyond recitation of anthems, we're rolling up our sleeves now and getting the conversation started. We're looking at the economy and the practicality or otherwise of the Tinubunomics policy. So stay with us. We'll be right back.